Welcome back to the Final Word on CNN Philippines. I'm Rico Hizon. Making an impression on Filipino diners of varied tastes is key to the success of the Moment Group, which has brands like Manam and Din Tai Fung, 8 Cuts Burgers, among others. Let's now talk to one of the co-founders who helped build TMG from the ground up. Abba Napa joins us now in the studio. Abba, great to have you with us. I have to ask you this question first. Why did your parents give you the nickname Abba? Is it because of the famous Swedish group Abba?
No.
Okay, no connection.
No connection at all. I could go on, but maybe we shouldn't.
All right. That's out of the way.
Yeah,
okay,
it's out of the way,
before you started the Moment Group more than 10 years ago, you were in the skincare and flip-flop business. What made you decide to cross over into the food business?
No, you know, I grew up around food and restaurants. When I was young, my mom had a bakery. We were living abroad, and every day after school, I'd come and I'd hang out with a guest outside. And then when we moved back to Manila, my dad invested in an Italian restaurant called L'Opera, which is still in BGC. And when I became an entrepreneur, his way of supporting me as a struggling first-time entrepreneur was he would allow me to eat my workday lunches at that restaurant. And I would find myself after work going back and hanging out with the chefs and the bartenders, and just there's a wonderful vibe in a dining room of a restaurant, and I think that really attracted me.
So food and hospitality is really in your DNA, but you wanted to try something else first before really getting into the food business.
Well, because growing up around it, I saw how it consumes you.
A lot of challenges.
I mean, it's a 24/7 business, right? It's a people business. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to dedicate everything to that, but 10 years later, here we are, right? 24/7.
Well, 10 years later, you have 12 brands and 50 locations around Luzon. What would you say is the key to the success of the Moment Group?
That's a big question. You know, I think that what's wonderful about Moment is that, and pun intended also, is that it's a collective of people, you know, more than it is just a company and organization. And we really do try every day to give everybody a seat at the table. And pun intended, because we're in the restaurant business, so our job is really to give people seats at our table.
Yes.
But conceptually, I mean, what I mean by that is, you know, everybody at work, whether you're, you know, a man, a woman, whatever age you are, generation, a summer intern, a part of our execom, you get a seat at the table and you get a voice, and you get to put your idea into the pot as long as your idea is backed by objectivity and respect. And I think we've done a decent job at listening to such diverse points of views, and then collaborating on that and turning it into a creation. And I think because everybody has their handprint on our brands, we were able to develop in our portfolio such a diverse list of brands with different genetics, different DNAs, and different
Filipino,
cuisines.
Is Din Tai Fung Taiwanese food?
Yes, it's Taiwanese food. That's
you
our
have burgers, you have Japanese food, you even have cookies. I mean,
we actually even have a bar, a speakeasy bar.
So how do you, balance all these different and varied types of brands in your portfolio?
Not easy.
And I'm sure, apart from the 12, you plan to add more one of these days.
I think the hardest thing is learning how to say no and just focusing on what you have. But I think I think that we love to create. Everybody in the group. I mean, I think we're as much a creator and a developer as we are an operator of food. I don't think we would be who we were if we just stopped creating. So I think it's really important to us that we continue to do that, whether it's creating within our current brands or creating new ones. And I think creating different brands across different cuisines helps you understand also the Filipino diner today and what they like, because you know, people crave different things for different occasions, you know, different wallet sizes, no? And we're happy to create for all of those different occasions, I suppose, and it's exciting for us.
Well, creating, giving good service, good food to the Filipino clientele. But on the other hand, I mean, there's also so much competition out there in the marketplace.
Yeah.
How do you remain competitive? and stay on top of your game.
You know, the industry is so small, so many of them are our friends. So
Yeah.
we actually don't use the word competition so much. I think
Complement each other.
complement each other. I think that, you know, the way we look at it is, if there's a cuisine or a category that's already being very well served by our peers, why go into it? I mean, as progressive as the dining scene is in Manila, I think that there is still, it's still nascent. You know, there's still a lot that can be done and offered that's not yet offered. So there's so many things that are still left that can be created that Filipinos could still enjoy that are not available here. So I still think that there is so much space to play.
And over the past 3.5 years, there have been many challenges, especially
Yes.
for the food business, the pandemic. You had to pivot into take out food. And then
Yes.
right after that, you had the Ukraine war, which led to higher oil prices, power rates, inflation
Yes.
Of 14-year highs. How do you navigate through these peaks and valleys with your partners?
Thanks for reminding me how challenging it's been.
But is it over?
No, I mean, I think there are always going to be challenges, and you know, I think the Philippine dining scene has been quite fortunate in that the Filipino diner just loves eating out, and I think that love for eating out and not just eating out, but converging around the table. I think that's grown, and I think the only real valley we experienced was you know, the last 2 years of the pandemic, because the Filipino could not converge physically, you know. So I think that was the first real big test for us. But you know, I mean, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I think the industry has come out stronger. And so inflation and onions and shortages in supply because of the wars, I think we're better ready to deal with it because of what we had to deal with the last 2 years, you know.
Absolutely. And of course, you now have a large organization from where you were at more than 10 years ago. You have thousands of, or not hundreds, thousands of employees in your different brands.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have a large portion of your employees who are women. How are you empowering them?
You know, that's a real big question. I think I'll throw back the question to how are we empowering everybody?
Okay.
You know, so woman, man, or whatever gender you identify with, and I think I go back
Gender
to
equality, gender equity.
definitely. You know, the median age at moment is 28. But we have, but it's really diversified. All the generations are represented, and I think to go back
Millennials and Gen Zs.
Yes.
28. That's
And Gen
average age.
Xs like me and baby boomers as well.
Yeah.
And I think I go back to what I had said earlier about giving everyone a seat at the table, and the fact that at moment, you know, I think everybody really embraces the diversity and the difference in opinion and perspective. And I think that allows everyone, male, female, whatever age group, to feel confident that they can go out and do what they think is right in their line of work, in their roles. And I think that empowers not just the women, but everyone.
And do you have a role model, or apart from your mom or your tita or a close relative, who inspires you to continue to do what you do?
You know, apart from my family, and we're very tight-knit, maybe, I don't know if role model is the right word, but I'm very fortunate to spend my days with such creative and talented people, apart from my 2 business partners, like the entire team at moment. And so I think I'm inspired by that, by being around them. And I think that because the way we work and the way we create is very collaborative, that just spurs on that inspiration to keep doing stuff together. So I think role models are just the people around me, you know? Yeah.
And I'm sure there are a lot of women out there who are confused. I mean, keeping a 9-to-5 job and, you know, getting into business, being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What would your advice be for women entrepreneurs who want to set up their own business, particularly in the food and beverage industry?
Think again. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, I think, you know, I remember when I said that I wanted to get into food, my dad, he sat me down and he said, are you sure? He said, you know, there are far easier ways to make a living than being in food. And I didn't know how to really answer that at the time. I just felt that I was moved to be part of an industry where you create things for people,
Yes.
for the public, right? That's always interested me. But I think now I can explain it a bit better. I think, you know, I think we're very fortunate people in F&B to be in a profession where you get to make people happy for a living, even if it's just over the course of a mealtime. And I think that not all professions are like that, right? And sometimes that's the only ROI you get because F&B can be challenging. So I think my answer to, you know, what my advice would be is, and a lot of people use this, and I think it's because it's true, is make sure you have the passion for it and the gumption, and make sure that hospitality is in your DNA and it's what really moves you, because there'll be many times where there'll be so many challenges where it'd be easy to throw in the towel. But I think the love of hospitality and making people happy is really what keeps you in the F&B space.
Great advice for all women out there watching us right now on this very important day, March 8th, which is Women's Day.
Thanks for having me on this day.
Happy Women's Day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Rico.
much. And to all women out there, happy Women's Day to all of you. Abba Napa, co-founder of the Moment Group.